Kathy Hunter has been a member of the Soldiers Beach Surf Club on the Central Coast for the past 4 years. She's one of 10 females in the club and their numbers are steadily increasing.
It is growing. In our surf club we can see that it's growing, and other surf clubs. It's still a lot to sort of have more women into, but it's getting there, yeah.
There are only 3 women in the 77-strong Australian contingent going to Vancouver, Canada. This has made Kathy determined to let those attending the International Aquatic Symposium know just what the local clubs are capable of. Still, Kathy says the communication won't be all one way. What do you hope to get out of the Congress?
Well, we'll be learning different life-saving methods from around the world, and then bringing it back to the surf club and the community to teach.
Local president of the association is Toronto operator Robert whose talks with Transport Minister Unsworth recently gained some relief. The government has offered to provide the severance pay for drivers put off, establish tribunals to handle complaints and make cash grants of half the first-term loss to operators. This is to cover the carrying of students who may not still be eligible until the situation can be clarified. But Mr Hertogs says this isn't as generous as it seems.
The offer of half reimbursement for the first term is half of the money you lose for a third of the year. So as an example, if an operator loses $100,000 a year, the total he's going to get is $16,000, which is not very much at all.
Is that going to mean that some people will go under?
Yes, it definitely will mean that some people will go under. What we asked them to do is, if they wouldn't change their mind and talk to us about a better way of saving some money.
This is all true. They brought in the 2.3. And they won't be happy when they do.
Parents won't really realise the impact until school goes back and their child doesn't get a bus pass. In Newcastle there are 4,500 children who have had their bus passes withdrawn. All those parents are not aware of that yet, but when school goes back they will become aware of it, and I believe many of them will take some action to do whatever they can to get those bus passes back.
Star lawn bowler Faye Craig was not keen to begin the sport she has adorned for more than 20 years. She started playing to please her mother, but only after 2 years of arm twisting. She plays at the Newcastle Jockey Club. It's the only club she's ever belonged to, and her name is prominent on every championship board within the premises. Representing Australia for the first time, she teamed with South Coast bowler Merle Richardson to win a pairs gold medal at the World Bowls at Reservoir in Melbourne. Faye has been the beaten finalist in the Australian Master Singles and in 5 state titles. Faye Craig, gold medal lawn bowler. 1985 was a year of achievement for Newcastle tennis star Peter Doohan. His best results were wins in last year's South Australian Open Championship and his second successive Australian hardcourt title. But despite his growing prominence at higher levels, Doohan regularly returns to Newcastle, where he habitually takes out most titles he contests. He is one of only 5 players in the BP Achievers squad, a select group of tennis prospects. Late in the year he notched up an impressive 19 successive wins when he took out the Australian Davis Cup Foundation Masters Singles in Victoria. He's just as highly regarded as a doubles player, and 1985 saw him score a host of impressive doubles wins, including the Australian hardcourt doubles title. Peter Doohan, Australian tennis champion. Greg Heyman had not only his busiest year in weightlifting competition but also his most successful. Greg lifts in the flyweight 52 kilogram division and has not been beaten in Australia for 18 months. He's the national, state and country champion, and in Auckland just over a month ago he had his most successful day with the weights, breaking no less than 6 records, 1 Commonwealth, 2 Australian and 3 Oceania marks. The 27-year-old wagon builder with the State Rail Authority now must be a certain selection for the Commonwealth Games in Edinburgh. Add to those great results the gold medal at the Australia Games in Melbourne to open the year and you have an in-form champion. Greg Heyman, record-breaking weightlifter. Neath motorcycle champ Chris Watson will go down as one of the all-time greats of the sport. He's already gained 33 state and national titles, even though he's only 20 years old. It all started in 1976, when this likeable young man won the Australian Mini Bike Championship. In 1981 he won a national and a state title. In 1982, 2 New South Wales championships. 1983, 8 state or nationals and the Test captaincy of Australia. 1984, 16 titles plus the Duke of Edinburgh Award, the King of the Hunter title and the state captaincy. This year nothing's changed, as he's won almost all that's before him. Chris Watson, all-time great motorcyclist. Gary Brunnages with forward hand Greg Gardner are the world champions in 505 sailing, and they have some talent to beat to maintain that rating as they sail from the Royal Motor Yacht Club at Toronto, a club with no peer in this class of sailing. In fact, they're the 3rd team from Lake Mac to hold this world title. As a warm-up to the major title, their boat Dad's Lads was also first home in the South Pacific Series, and they just days ago added the Australian title to make it a trifecta. Brunnages is no stranger to world titles. He was world champion in 16-foot skiffs way back in 1975. Gary Brunnages, world champion sailor. The 13 contenders will be on the line at the Belmont 16-foot Sailing Club tomorrow night when the 1985 Sports Star of the Year is named. Last year, in a glittering occasion, sailboarder Bruce Wiley was crowned as the pick of the Hunter's top sportsmen and women. He'll be vying to make it 2 in a row, but this year the competition is very tough. NBN will be covering this exciting event. You can watch it live from 9:30 tomorrow night.
In past years, Lee, the visiting skippers have competed in local boats, but this year they've all brought their own boats here, and so that'll sort of put them up with the local skippers this year.
Unfortunately, you've lost a couple of hot starters because of the national titles and damage to their boats, but it is a very good field, including, I guess, the local boy, Michael Turner, who holds the title and must be favourite.
Yes, well, he's the defending champion. Of course, he won it last year. This year he would have to be favourite. Again, Marks Point Marina, which has got into the field now through the withdrawal of Burwood Calendars. He was in the final last year. He would have to be hard to beat this year. Other local boats, MJH, Monty and Newcastle, both hard to beat. But of course, some of these visitors this year, such as Cromarty Kilns from Brisbane, the Queensland champion Century Batteries, and from Western Australia, Scott Glaskin, a very, very good skipper, they'll all certainly be hard to beat this weekend.
Are these boats, the 16-footers, getting faster?
Well, they like to think so. Obviously, it depends on the weather conditions. As far as the designs are concerned, skippers are coming up with new designs all the time, and I'd say yes, Lee, overall these boats are certainly a lot faster than boats of the past.
And this is the fastest style of racing where it's one mistake and you're gone almost.
Well, one mistake and you're gone, Lee, and when you realise that over the weekend we're going to sail 41 races, it's a lot of races, basically as one finishes, one starts, so it's action laid on here at Belmont this weekend.
A section of Dawson Street, Cooks Hill, partially collapsed at around 1 o'clock this afternoon, leaving a gaping hole of 1 metre in diameter in the bitumen surface. A look inside, though, revealed a cavern 6 metres long and 3 metres wide. It had been hollowed out by a broken water carrier pipe. Workmen from the Hunter District Water Board were alerted to the hazardous road obstacle, and when they arrived, they set about barricading the hole. They'll begin repair work on the pipe and the roadway on Monday.
The local Australia Day Festival got underway this morning at a champagne breakfast. Special guest at the function was Frank Hardy, author of Power Without Glory. Local politicians and Navy dignitaries were among the crowd, and the staff at the Madison Motor Inn dressed in period costume to add to the atmosphere. A great week of activity is planned to build up to the Australia Day holiday. Much of the action will centre on the Hunter Street Mall. Desley Shakespeare is promoting the festival as a great tourist opportunity.
It's our opportunity to create employment. We must have employment in the Hunter Valley, and this is our opportunity to create employment. If we can have a festival like this where we're bringing people into the area, and look what we have to offer, this magnificent Hunter region, say yes to This is our opportunity to create employment in the Hunter region.
So the festival is like a tourist attraction as well?
It certainly is, and this is the tip of the iceberg. We've done this in 6 weeks this year, so give us 11 and a half months next year and you'll really see a festival.
And what have you got planned? Some special things, I believe, for the kids?
There is. Tomorrow, Tuesday and Wednesday in the mall, we have wonderful things for the kiddies. There's professional theatrical groups and face painting and reenactments, and it's a sensational day. So I hope all the parents will cooperate and bring the kids in and let them have a fabulous day.
That'll be fine.
That claimed 22 lives last year resulted in the highway between Bulahdelah and Taree being dubbed a killing field. But police believe the problem is not so much the road, but drivers. And in an all-out bid to modify driver behaviour this coming holiday weekend, they've planned Operation High Profile, which will result in a massive police presence around the clock. Local highway patrol crews will be supplemented by 28 officers from the Parramatta-based Highway Patrol Response Group. They'll bring with them 8 motorcycles, 6 marked cars and 2 unmarked cars, including a Mitsubishi Turbo Cordia Sports Coupe that's on test by the Highway Patrol. Superintendent Laurie Cotsey, who's in charge of Highway Patrol operations, says police have been told not to hide in lanes, but to be out on the highway amongst traffic.
And the ultimate objective, of course, is to get us through the weekend without any injuries.
So you'd be quite happy to really come back without any bookings, but no serious accidents?
That would be our ideal situation, yes.
Where are they going to concentrate?
The whole length of the highway, the Pacific Highway, from Hornsby right up the Queensland border, will be having a higher than usual number of vehicles on the road. But this exercise is mainly between Bulahdelah and that area north of through to Taree.
There are a few police with records as impressive as that of the new officer in charge of the Newcastle Police District, Chief Superintendent Lloyd Noonan. He's been a detective for more than 30 years, since 1952 to be precise. The bulk of his work has been in the area of crime in the Sydney Metropolitan District. He's received most attention, though, as the officer in charge of the Joint Bomb Task Force investigating the attacks on the Family Law Court building and Family Court judges. He also formed the State Police Arson Squad and was the Commissioner's representative on the New South Wales Standing Committee on Arson. From this you may be surprised to learn, though, that his main weapon against crime in this area will be community-based schemes.
I see my role as being involved in the protection of property and people. And to achieve this, of course, I am looking to the public to help through neighbourhood watch schemes, which have a proven track record, especially in the area of Beresfield, where crime has been reduced by some 90%, and other community-based schemes that are in the planning stage.
To complement this, he's instigated a higher visual policing profile. He believes serious crime is not a major problem in this area when compared to Sydney, and his targets will be underage drinking, which he blames for many crimes, and vandalism.
Well, I consider that vandalism is an area in which the police should address themselves to combating that sort of crime. I believe that through the efforts of the police and the public, we can overcome this problem.
Very pleased with it, and we're looking forward to our official opening on the 25th of March, when the Minister, Michael Cleary, is to be present to perform the ceremony.
The new complex links the members' stand with a refurbished ledger stand and provides luxury facilities for both sections of race patrons.
The aim of the new building was to provide lounge facilities and to add to the overall concept. That meant that we had to improve the 2 existing stands, which we have done.
You've obviously got computer tote bedding in here, Also a couple of stands for 2 bookmakers to be here on both levels, public and for the members. A much better bar arrangement than that old one that you've had to put up with for years, and also food available here too. It's really well set up.
It is. It means that the race goer can come to the races and locate him or herself in these lounges and not move. They're fully serviced with everything they might like to do, whether it's betting with a bookmaker, with the tote, or having a social day at the races. And again, that was the aim of the concept.
We provide everything here, all inclusive, except the winners of every race.
Conditions at Belmont for day 1 of this tournament were far from perfect with a heavy wind. Yesterday's teams event was split into 2 sections, with golfers playing an 18-hole stroke event in the morning. In a tight decision, England's Peter Baker and Colin Dalglish from Scotland were the winners with a total of 151. The result was on countback, with West Australians Brad King and John Evans also scoring 151. In the afternoon, it was 18 holes foursomes, with Queenslanders Stephen Taylor and Matthew King making the best of the conditions to win with a score of 72. The overall winners yesterday were the West Australian pair, Brad King and John Evans, whose combined total was 224. Today's play is the Pro-Am event, and then tomorrow the main event, the singles, gets underway. 22-year-old American Keith Goyen carded the best individual round yesterday with a par 73. He must be in with a chance to take out the singles.
There's been some past guys from the States who've come and played in this tournament, and one last year, Doug Thompson, he told me about it, and I thought it would be a good opportunity for me to come over here and find out what it's like.
Today, even though the conditions were fairly terrible out there on the course, you scored the best card of the day. You must be fairly confident for the rounds this weekend in the singles.
Right, I'm satisfied with my game right now, and hopefully when it comes time to tee it up in the tournament, I'll play to my game, and if I do, I'll be right there in contention to win it.
So do you think you've got the shots to take this one out?
I do. I just, I have to do it, that's all.
Exactly 3 weeks ago, the Bulahdelah Preschool was told by the Department of Youth and Community Services that its permit to operate would expire on the 4th of February. The preschool is conducted in the old courthouse building in the town, and for the youngsters, the next closest preschools are a good half-hour away at Nabiac, Hawk's Nest or Stroud. This morning, the 30 children who are enrolled and many parents staged an angry protest about the abrupt closure. The preschool opened in May 1984, after Youth and Community Services awarded them a temporary permit to operate in the old courthouse. Now, more than 18 months later, the department has deemed that the building is unsuitable. The preschool committee is in a bind because they say the building is a historic landmark in the town and shouldn't be altered.
Well, we have a problem here with preschool requirements. It's an old building. It was originally classed by the National Trust, but recently we found out that that's not correct. And it's very, very difficult to sort of alter a building of this size and age to sort of come up to requirements for youth and community.
The committee has called on the Minister for Youth and Community Services, Frank Walker, to meet with them over the closure. They say they're prepared to reopen the preschool at another location, but at present one just hasn't been found, and they hope an extension on the permit will be granted. But at the moment they say it's a desperate situation.
There's just no preschool. I mean, they're all here today. They want a preschool. It's great for them, especially at this age. But where do they go if they don't stay here?
The peace plan was outlined by NRL Chairman Neville Lydiard at the annual 2nd Division meeting, at which only 3 clubs were present.
The new lower Hunter League was formed late last year by former 2nd Division officers, led by President Jim Houston. They broke away after conflict with the NRL over constitutional issues and the challenge to the senior body's powers to impose a $1,000 fine. However, while Mr Houston is reported to have said it's now too late to heal the rift, NRL Chairman Mr Lydiard is still hoping to find a solution.
We are undertaking at the present time to arrange a conference between both parties, hopefully be held very early next week, to see if we can resolve the problem that exists between the Newcastle Rugby League and the Lower Hunter Rugby League. That meeting is in the hands of our solicitor, who is endeavouring to make those arrangements as early as tomorrow, so that we can have the meeting early next week, and hopefully to straighten out all the problems that do exist.
Gaddy. Then on the outside is Big, lining up his Firebird, and although he lines up as a strong contender, Canberra driver Peter Big, who crashed last week, is back again and in top form for the title. Another strong contender, Lino Gaffey, is out with a broken arm and a suspension following the big incident. The biggest challenge to Brewer for the state title is expected to come from the home track test team driver John Pine, throwing out the gauntlet with his improved Pontiac engine. Pine has had several outings with his powerful V8 and could cause the upset.
In that turn one,